Hi. Okay, I want to talk about a project that I'm working on. This video is going to be a bit of a devlog. Yeah, it's basically I just want to document work I did today. Okay, so here is what I'm working on. I'm working on a little tiny event loop library. Um, let's see. Was it README? Yeah. Okay. Basically, it's called libel. It's an asynchronous portable event loop. Um, an event loop is the core piece of software that runs in pretty much any persistent computer program. That's a program that doesn't like immediately exit typically. Um, and what it does is it checks to see if the program should like exit now and then quit. That's basically the function of it. And before it exits, it runs events. That is, like, it reacts to things. So if, for instance, if it was a program on your like cell phone, it might be waiting for you to press, inputs like click on buttons. It might be wanting to draw images to the screen. It might want to, I don't know, uh, do some math in the background, whatever. Point is that the program is running, and while it's running, it's in a loop, and it's just checking to see what it has to do, any tasks given, or any events that happen, and it just executes them, typically one at a time. Although in the modern era, things are getting more and more parallel, so things get spread out and assigned to other, um, maybe other programs or something like that. Anyways, point being is that I wanted to see if there was an event loop, like a pre-written event loop library that I could write a small program with, kind of for like a retro coding type of project on like a 16-bit DOS computer. This, as you can see, is a DOS prompt, and we're running this inside of I think the DOSBox, latest version of DOSBox, something or other. Anyways, and I couldn't find anything, and at least nothing simple. Like there are event loop and freely in open source event loops called, like, there's one called like libevent, and it's very popular and very powerful. And it also doesn't run on 16-bit DOS without a great deal of like porting, like work to make it actually run on that environment. Anyway, so I tested my little program that I wrote today. It works on 64-bit OpenBSD. This is the latest and greatest in like, you know, uh, Unix like operating system wizardry, and also this goofy little 16-bit DOS virtual environment that I have here on my computer. Anyways, yeah, so a couple things. I don't want to get into like operating specific, operating system specific, like things like TCP/IP or connecting like over internet networks. This is really just a simple little program that checks to see um, what little tasks are in front of it and executes them. And it has a little timer in it too. Anyways, whatever. Let me just show you what I wrote. Not you. Let me go show whomever might possibly watch, or myself. Anyways, what is it? It's in my libel. El is for event loop. Okay. And if let's take a look at my current API. This is definitely going to change. What is it here? It's event loop slash, yeah, there we go. Okay, now, so here is, we're doing this in a DOS version of VI or VI or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so this is the API. Basically, that stands for Application Programming Interface. What I've done is we have a function here called new loop that basically is one of the first things you're going to call when you go to use a program. It will return a pointer to a new loop. If it doesn't return a successful pointer, it fails. And you can react to that however you choose to. Here's a thing for free a loop. So this is what you would execute after the program is complete. You can start your loop, okay, which is to say it will start iterating over your start iterating your loop and wait for events to happen. There's a little thing here that checks to see if an event has expired. This is so you can set a timer. So you can say, I would like in 10 seconds, I would like to know that this thing, I want to schedule something to happen in 10 seconds or every 1 second or something like that. And we have, so we can check to see if an event has expired. We can create a new timer event. So this will say, this is like basically it's a countdown. And we can add it to our loop. And so far, that's all there is. I will add callbacks to this. If you don't know what that is, callbacks are basically, that's a good way to describe a callback. Okay, so if I'll describe it exactly as the word is used. So if I was to leave a message, let's say I call your house, okay, and somebody picks up the phone and I say, hey, you know what, when so-and-so gets home, when you get home, when an individual gets home, can you have them call me back? Okay. And then I'll leave the instructions on how to get a hold of me. Okay. And so that might be like a phone number, or it might be like an email or whatever, something like that. Well, that's the same as what a callback is. So for instance, on our little timer callbacks here, what it will say is something along the lines of, hey, so in 10 seconds, I want you to do something special. Okay. And here is the something special instructions that I want you to do. And it will, be able to do that. I haven't implemented that yet. I just got it working, the timer part working today. And I'll add the callbacks maybe tomorrow. Okay. So this is the basic API. It'll grow a little bit. I'm going to try to keep it really, really reduced. Okay. So let's go to, is that it? No. I have not used, whatever. I haven't used VI much, so I don't actually, I thought I could open the other file. There is a way I can like open other directories, but I'm just going to quit and reload. All right, so this is a sample application. Okay, so basically what we do here is we start our application. I'm not checking any arguments at the moment. Oh, hey, I've got a mouse. Wouldn't you know that? Okay, so here is my structure. This is the event loop structure. This is the important part. This is a temporary variable for storing events as I fill them in. This is just a temporary time variable. I go ahead and I create my loop, okay, and I check to see if it has failed or not. If it does, for some reason I can't make my loop, I'm just going to exit the program. And then all I've done here is I'm creating new time events. TEV is time event. Okay. And that's the current time. And I'm just using the basic C time function. I only care about this on the 1 second basis at the moment. We're not going to worry about like fractions of a second or anything like that. We're going real simple here. Anyway, so I want a time event from right now. That's what this means, time null. Null, it's a bit misleading, but basically I want the current time plus 1 second, and I add that to my timer. And then I want a new event, okay, of the time right now and 2 seconds, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 10 seconds. So basically, I'm adding 10 timers to my loop, okay? And all that's happening here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. That doesn't explain anything. What it's doing is I'm adding 10 timers, and every second we should have one of our timers expire. And when the timer has expired, it should do something. Now, I don't really have instructions for it to do anything just yet. So I'll just quit and I'll show you what it does do. What is this? EL. Okay, so here's the actual implementation. This is all super duper copyrighted. Nobody steal this, incredibly. Oh yeah, I should mention, this is not really an external dependency, but I'm using the pre-rolled. This is a piece of software that is written from, I don't know when it actually was originally written, but basically it's linked lists. I'm using the BSD linked list API. It's not exactly an external dependency because I'm kind of bundling this in, but rather than rolling my own linked list API, or not API, whatever, instead of writing my own linked list, I'm just reusing existing source code. I find it's better, and linked lists is, although it's easy to do once, I may be doing this a couple times, and I don't really want to get into, well, it makes a lot of sense to not reinvent the wheel. Let's just say that. So it's sort of an external dependency, but honestly, it's being bundled in. So whatever. Okay. So here's our event loop. We're going to add some IO events and like scheduled events. I'll explain that maybe another time. Anyways, going to allocate a loop. This is my freeing the loop at the end, assuming that there are any events unpopulated. Create a new timer event. This is the new timer event. It allocates enough memory for one timer and returns a pointer to that memory. I have to add callbacks, as you can see. There's this checking to see if a time event has expired. Okay, so it takes a time and it compares it versus the expiry versus the time provided. So typically you would fill this in with the current time, as in what time is it right now, and has that expired yet or not. This is the loop logic itself. It's a simple while loop. I'm using C99 constructs here, like the Boolean. Okay. And I also am I'm using the integer, how do I want to say this? The integer type defs, so that I know for sure how big something is. This is kind of going to be, I think, temporary. I'm just counting the ticks of this thing. And then at the moment, because I don't want this to actually run forever, because I don't really have an interrupt mechanism yet. I'm just expiring this after 300,000 ticks. But basically, it's just going through our list, okay, of events, and it waits to see when they have expired. If it's expired, it just prints a little message and it says event with time has, basically it's just expired. And then I have to write a callback and needs to actually go do something with that information other than just print the notice. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So I will run it. Let's go. Oops. All right. I'm just going to delete, just demonstrate that it compiles, whatever. I wrote a little make file for this as well. 3 files. It's just main el.c and eh.c is the header file. Of course, we don't compile that, but we're not going to do that. We created a DOS executable. Very good. It should be called loop.exe. So I'll just execute that, and this should create 10 timers, each with a 1 second interval, and then it'll print something when they are displayed, or when they're all done. All right, this doesn't really look like the current time. That's because I am representing a an unsigned time value, with a signed data type on my thing there. And it's going to run until 300,000 ticks go in the background, and the program should just exit all on its own. Just really wanted to demonstrate that the timer functionality is working. Anyway, so this has been a very basic devlog of a really simple event loop, or the beginnings of one anyways. Not sure how many people would ever need this or want this, but I think it's kind of useful to have something extremely simple that you can think of all sorts. Like, for instance, let's just say you were making a little game and you wanted to give it a timer until some you wanted to, like, let's say you're playing Hangman and you wanted to give your player only 20 seconds until their you know uh, until their time is up, they have to guess, or something like that. There's all sorts of times that you'd want to react based on time. Is this not done yet? Surely 300,000 ticks is up. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess thanks for watching. If anybody is, I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to document it. And yeah, see you next time, I guess. Bye.